Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I should say good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is you're listening. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Now, first and foremost, I am so excited to know and see just recently that I have reached 100,000 downloads on the podcast. And that is thanks to every single one of your ears. And I have like a slight laugh because it's almost like it's an absolute deep gratitude and almost a sense of overwhelm of 100,000 downloads. This is just such a beautiful thing. And I have to take a moment to say why. When I had my NDE, Spirit really encouraged me to share my voice. And I remember thinking, why would anyone want to hear what I have to say? And they did this beautiful reframe and they said, it's more than what you have to say, Ginette. It's about what you know to be shared on behalf of us. And when they reframed it that way, and I really saw myself as part of a team, I had no problem stepping forward and using my voice to share the messages from my team. And so I say that because the gratitude I have for all of you is really based on not just myself, but my spirit team. They are grateful for your ears, your beautiful hearts, your comments, your questions, all of that. So from all of us here at the Ginette Biro podcast, and there are many in spirit, thank you so much. We truly appreciate you. Now, in saying that, let's get to the goodness. We are stepping in. We are in the month of June. When this is posted, this will be June. And this energy this month is really lovely. It is like Spirit showing me right now a summer day when the ice cream truck drives by or you hear that music coming, and it's this added bonus to what is already filled with lots of goodness. So I really like this. Now let's break this down. I have a lot of points to talk about and a lot of insights to share from them. The first thing they want to say is, astrologically speaking, we are in this really neat alignment now where we essentially for 2023, we front loaded the beginning of the year with a lot of transformation, massive, deep, personal and collective transformation. And this isn't just outside transformation, but inner transformations of not only how the inner workings of our mind work, but the inner workings of collective group think. A lot of that has been purging. And what's really interesting is this has really facilitated a huge leap in action, synergistic synchronicities, but also in the fluidity of ease and grace that is available to us now. So we had lots of big planets doing some big things, and not even just big planets in size, but Pluto being a little planet packs a big punch. We had Saturn doing some shifts. We had Jupiter doing some shifts, lots of things. Now, what this has done is now we're in the energy for the rest of the year of not perfection. And I want to be very clear about that. This doesn't mean everything is absolutely perfect and utopia, but it means we really set the stage for our own inner stability, recognition, awareness to maneuver through the rest of the year with more ease and flow, more grace, more willingness to be our own safe space. And that's what this has really facilitated. And so this is why this is a really neat energy to be in. So for all of you that have done the work, and I mean, those of you that are listening, you've done the work. And so what this means is you have more ease and grace available to you as you move through things. And also there will be many more synchronistic alignments, because that's the next point that Spirit wanted me to talk about, was the trifecta effect. What that is you will start to see more synchronistic signs, symbols, or alignments that happen in threes. They're saying really look for the patterns of threes where they triangulate. Now, this could be in signs. Say you see, say ladybugs represent romance for you and you're looking for romance. And there are 3 different times where you see ladybugs within a short amount of time. That's your sign, right? That's that trifecta. Now, this can also be, though, that say you're trying to manifest something into your reality. Say you're trying to manifest a new house. Say you're trying to buy a new house. And a friend of yours buys a new house. And you're like, oh, that's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, they've just done it. That's amazing. And then you hear of a friend who just bought a new house. And you're like, ah, yeah, that's amazing. And although that's not happening to you at that moment, it's happening within your orbit. And then you hear something else about somebody else bought a new house. So 3 people bought a house. And you're like, that's literally what I'm trying to manifest. Here's the really cool thing is when you see the things that you're trying to manifest start showing up in the lives of those within your orbit, that means you're drawing it in. That doesn't mean you're being left out. It's your perspective if you want to see yourself being left out, but often that will indicate you're next. So if you're seeing things happen in 3s within your orbit, that means you're pulling it into your reality. And so Spirit is saying, look for the many ways that these are manifesting. These things are happening and manifesting because it's quite amazing. Now, the next thing that they wanted to talk about was affairs of the heart. And this isn't the negative sense of having an affair. This is affairs meaning things pertaining to the heart. And specifically in abundance and connectedness, there have been so many messages. And in fact, they're telling me right now we are ahead of schedule. So 2024 is a big year for divine alignments and pairings, partnerships, twin flames, soulmates, divinely timed pairings coming together. Now, with us being ahead of schedule, more and more people are finding these divine pairings happening. And so we're really going to start to see more of that influx now, especially for those that have done the work, all of you, because you've made space for it, essentially. And many people have made space within their own internal realms, their thoughts, their minds, their spirit energy, healing their body. They've made the space, so the space is now available. And in many cases, the 2 divine pairings of, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and again, that doesn't mean gender, but the energy that runs in them. And again, we have masculine and feminine in each of us, but I'm using this as an example. When the feminine has made space and the masculine has also made space, then the pairing of that wholeness is available. And so what's happened is more and more people, masculine and feminine, have made the space, meaning the pairing is available now sooner. So really notice where these synchronistic alignments start to show up for you. And so again, if we take that back to that trifecta effect, you may find you are having dreams of your divine partner, or you are hearing songs of that divine partner or something. And if those things are happening in 3s, that is really showcasing the fact that it is being drawn into your reality. And that's an exciting thing. That's a beautiful thing. So there are things with the affairs of the heart. Now, for those that have done the work as well, these synchronistic alignments will happen in times that are beneficial for you, not in times that are not. So again, when the space is made, that means it's been made in a good way, not in a way where, we see this in movies where somebody meets the love of their life, but they're leaving in 1 week for a year to live across the world, right? So the timing isn't there. When you've made space for the timing to be there. So there's some really beautiful things coming down the pipe with that. Now, the next thing, kind of in connection to that, is for those of you that aren't seeing that manifesting yet, Spirit is saying, take this time now to practice the unconditional love in balancing your own inner feminine and masculine. And when we do this, when we start to balance our own, we can see how those around us are really mirrors to what we're needing, where we're needing to find comfort, where we're needing to balance that masculine and feminine within us. It's so often mirrored in other people, and we mirror those things for others. And so you're mirroring in somebody else doesn't mean it's necessarily a negative mirroring. You may be feeling very much aligned and very in love with yourself in a good way, not in an ego way. And that is mirrored to somebody else. And maybe it triggers that other person because they see you in such peace that they're annoyed by it. But what it's mirroring to them is that they wish and desire to have that same peace. So we can mirror in many different ways. But when you are just focused on being authentically you in your highest energy, what you mirror out is often quite a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful ripple. So in this practicing of unconditional love, there's this beautiful intimacy that is available. And I'm not just talking about sexual intimacy. I'm talking about those intimate conversations with people in your life, platonic people, maybe business partners that you're willing to be vulnerable a little bit so they can better get to know who you are, and then tailor their business practices to your energy and frequency. When we're willing to be more intimate with ourselves, vulnerable, open, aware, but feel strong and aligned in those positions, we have such high creative potential. So now this brings me into the next point, is Spirit is really asking us this month to explore our creativity. Explore your inspirations. What comes through your imagination? Are you taking time to put that paintbrush to the canvas if you're being called to paint? Are you taking time to sit down and record music? I mean, that has been something that has been calling me for a while, and I haven't done it. I've been busy, but I've also had reasons why, now is not the time. But the creativity is like bursting within me. So for me personally, it's a call to sit down and start playing music. Sit back down at the piano, play, just play, right? So same with you. Where are you being drawn to explore your creativity, your imagination? Because really thoughts become form. So if you give yourself the outlet to allow that form to come out, you are essentially creating the frequency to manifest your dreams, because your manifestation comes through most when you're in creative mode. Now, for those of you that are like, well, I, can't make a living by painting and my job is this and this. Now, here's the beautiful piece, is when you're in the creative mode and I'll use painting, when you're painting and you're allowing that, even though that's not what you do for work, you open up or amplify your frequency so that when you are in your day job, your creative capacity is that much higher. Your ideas are flowing. Your communication is flowing. All is flowing in the right direction. So creativity, even in your own hobbies, has a huge effect on your frequency, your work, your health. It's deeply, deeply connected. So explore your creativity, free your imagination, and act on your inspiration. And then also notice if your inspiration is coming through in dream state too, because they're saying for a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of info coming through in dream state as well. Now, speaking of that dream state, there is a lot of guidance coming down the pipe, a lot of guidance. For those of you that have listened to my daily card readings on my YouTube channel, I do a daily card reading just for fun. Wednesday is a mediumship tune-in or channeling. The theme recently has been on listening to your body, listening to the messages coming through in your body, intuitive hits, like strong communication energy coming in. So there's definitely guidance that is wanting to come through, but we need to create the space for it. So the beautiful thing is, if we go back one step, when we are in this creative space, when we're allowing our creativity to flow through, our imagination to run openly, we also then can hear better. We can hear spirit better. We can have these beautiful strokes of genius, of insight, of inspiration. And a lot of that does come from guidance. And sometimes the guidance comes from our higher self, and sometimes it comes from our spirit guides. Sometimes it's universal energies. There's many ways in which it can come through, but when we connect in with that energy, we can connect into the guidance. So we need to learn to listen to our bodies, because our bodies are really that interface. Our bodies can give us so much information from the higher realms by what we're feeling, what we're sensing. Where's their tension? What does that mean? What chakra is blocked? What does that mean? What chakra is open and on fire? Can you tap into it? All of those help you connect to your intuition, help you connect to spirit, help you also connect to your own personal resonance. And I talk about that, I think, almost all the time. How much your resonance, how you feel things resonate against your personal truth matters, because that's what it essentially allows you discernment of truth for you in your reality. So there's a lot of guidance coming down the pipe. Now, the last thing that they wanted to talk about was your strength. Again, this kind of feeds into resonance, and I love how this all just really flowed today. So when you are steadfast in your heart, to me, that means you know your personal resonance, and you can measure anything that you come across against your personal resonance to see if it is something that is in alignment with you or something that isn't. And having the knowledge of that resonance gives you so much strength. Your strength is unbelievable when you're in that state of resonance. And in that heart space, there's powerness and there's tenderness. There's a safe haven for you, and there's a safe haven for others. It is where you can adapt. It is where you can respond. It is where you can stay strong and sturdy. You can move, you can bend, you can become vulnerable. You can hold space for your own healing and your own growth. All of that is encompassed in strength. All of that is rooted in resonance. So the more you get to know yourself, the more you will have this massive strength that can come through in really beautiful, tender ways. Strength doesn't have to be bold and abrupt and loud. It can be when it's needed, but it can also be steady and calm and grounded. It can be fun. It can be vulnerable. You know, when we see sometimes people do these really amazing speeches, and in the speeches, they say something so vulnerable, but they say it with such clarity that we see them in those moments as the strongest person ever, because they take what some would see as a weakness or a vulnerability and they stand up with it, and they hold it with their resonance, and they hold it in their heart, and they say, this is who I am, this is my why. And then we think, wow, this person is unstoppable, they're immensely strong, but yet they shared a vulnerability. There's strength in that too. So notice, where are you being asked to breathe into your strength? Where are you being asked to step up with your strength or soften? Because it's all in there. And the more we tune in with our resonance, the more we can hear spirit, the more we can open to creativity, the more we can practice unconditional love. And that feeds all into the heart and our alignments and our synchronistic events. It's all connected. Spirit is showing me this big wheel right now, this beautiful wheel, and they're showing it to me like spokes in a wheel. Each one of these things I've been talking about today is a spoke in this wheel. And when they all connect together to that center point, which is you, the wheel can roll and it can gain momentum and it can move from one place to another. And our incarnation here is like that wheel. When it is balanced, it can move so fast and so seamlessly. So consider which spokes in your wheel are needing your attention right now and how you can bring that to fruition. Now, the last thing they want to say, they're kind of poking me, tapping me on the shoulder right now. They're like, Ginette, one more thing. And this was something I hadn't written down. So I'm just going to take a moment to listen here. Hold on. Okay. They're saying, lastly, trust in the beautiful redirects from the universe right now, because they're redirecting us in such amazing ways. So if you have a plan of a certain way something's going to manifest and it's working and it's moving in that direction, but somewhere there's a redirect, don't panic with the redirect. So if you're working on a project and all of a sudden you hit a roadblock with what you thought was going to be a sure thing, contract signed, all of this, and all of a sudden it stops, that is a universal redirect. Don't panic at the redirect. In that moment, if you can, breathe into the fact that it's being redirected to something better, and that something better will come around soon, and that something better will be much more fruitful in very tangible, materialistic ways. And I don't mean materialistic in a negative, but if I use this contract again, maybe the contract would facilitate a certain amount of financial abundance, and you're grateful for it and excited by it, but then it stalls, but then it redirects to something that is that much more. And it's not even in a selfish way of, give me more, but maybe that ability to get that much more allows you to put a chunk of that into a charity, into creating something that you've always wanted to create for humanity. So consider that. Any of the redirects are helping you move forward. So I will leave that with you all. Happy June, everyone. I really hope you feel the abundance, the beautiful energy moving forward. This is a fruitful time. There are still lots of things happening in 3D that can be very drama-filled, but if you look through it you can see there are huge opportunities for healing, growth, creativity, love, abundance. Ah, so much, so much. So hold your frequency up there. Hold your thoughts, your heart, your beautiful energy in the places you wish to manifest. All right, I will leave that with you all. Thank you again so much as always for joining me. I look forward to connecting with you all next week. Please do subscribe and share. Now, somebody had asked me really quickly how they rate the podcast. It was a YouTube question. By simply hitting like on YouTube, that really helps, and subscribe, of course. If you're listening on the audio platforms, to rate the podcast, you just go into the podcast and you rate it on a 5-star. So you can rate, comment, if you will. That helps with the algorithms too. And share it. Share it on if you really enjoyed this podcast, please share it on your social media. Tag someone to listen to it, or however that works. So thank you. Thank you again, everyone. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week.